Welcome. The purpose of this presentation is to provide information on what must be submitted for ESEA monitoring by Tier 2 and Tier 3 districts in the category of Common Compliance. While each title program has a specific purpose and requirements, there are some requirements that are common to all programs. Common Compliance refers to requirements under ESEA that cross federal programs. Materials to be submitted for Common Compliance are fiscal in nature and fall into three categories: expenditures, inventory, and time and effort. Part of ESEA monitoring is ensuring that federal funds are spent in alignment with the district's approved plan. In order to accomplish this, districts submit detailed expenditure reports, which reviewers then compare to approved SIP budget narrative applications for each funded program. Districts are asked to submit separate expenditure reports for each program to facilitate an easy review. These reports can typically be generated by the district's accounting system. Being as specific as possible in the description of expenditures within these reports is helpful. Please be aware that broad terms like supplies will likely generate further inquiry by reviewers. ESEA requires that districts maintain documentation of supplies and equipment purchased with federal funds, including when they were purchased, where they are located, their condition, and when they are no longer useful, how they were disposed of. This is to ensure any equipment or supplies purchased with federal funds is accounted for. For the purposes of desk monitoring, districts are asked to submit an inventory list reflective of purchases with federal funds from the past 3 years, where applicable. This list should include equipment and non-consumable materials, including those items purchased for private schools. Consumable materials do not need to be included on this list. Districts are welcome to use the ODE inventory template, which can be found on the ESEA monitoring webpage, or to submit an existing inventory document already in use by the district, as long as it includes all the categories outlined in the quick reference brief linked on this slide. As described in the Uniform Grants Guidance, or UGG, every district must have a system for documenting and reporting the time of staff paid out of federal funds, which includes both full-time and part-time employees. This is to ensure that any staff time charged to a particular grant is benefiting that grant. Districts are asked to submit a payroll distribution report showing which staff were paid with federal funds for the year being monitored, along with 3 samples of individual documentation of time and effort. Time and effort reports should be prepared by all certificated and classified staff with salary and benefits that are charged to a single federal award, to multiple federal awards, or to any combination of a federal award and other federal, state, or local funding sources. However, for the purposes of desk monitoring, districts select samples from 3 staff members for the year being monitored to submit as evidence of the district's system of time and effort documentation. Now we'll talk for a moment about equitable services. Federal programs are supported by federal tax dollars, so all students, their educators, and their families are eligible, regardless of whether they attend public or private schools. Equitable services are district programs that just happen to serve private school students. While private schools are vital partners in equitable service programs, the district is solely responsible for equitable service programs and is the entity that is monitored. All districts must answer at least one question regarding equitable services on the self-assessment. This is to help the ODE and districts collaborate on determining what private schools exist within the state, since private schools do not register with the ODE. However, only districts that have participating private schools will need to submit documents for desk monitoring. Desk monitoring includes examination of practices around the provision of equitable services and requires districts to submit 3 types of evidence. The equitable services narrative asks districts to describe and explain their approach to conducting consultation. The narrative can be filled out in written form and submitted to OneDrive with all other documentation, or the district can notify the ESEA private school ombuds during the entrance meeting that they would like to complete the narrative together during a one-on-one virtual meeting. While ESEA does not require districts and private schools to complete a needs assessment, all equitable services must be based on the specific needs of the private school. Districts must submit documentation that the private school's needs were assessed prior to providing services. If the district does not have evidence of assessing needs, please upload a written plan of how needs will be assessed in future years. ESEA also requires that districts evaluate all Title I equitable service programs for student progress and equitable service programs under all other titles for effectiveness. Districts must submit documentation that the equitable service programs were evaluated at the conclusion of the program. If the district does not have evidence of evaluating programs, please upload a written plan of how evaluation will be conducted in future years. This concludes the Common Compliance and Equitable Services section of your training. Have questions? Please reach out.